A federal court holds another hearing tomorrow about the FBI's search of former President Donald Trump's Florida estate. At issue is whether to unseal witness statements that were the basis of an FBI search on August 8th. The Justice Department wants to keep those records secret as part of its investigation, but the former president must now tell the court if he wants the documents publicly released. And joining us now to discuss is Ken Cuccinelli, former Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security and Senior Fellow for Homeland Security and Immigration for the Center for Renewing America. Mr. Cuccinelli, thank you so much for joining us again. And we'll start off with the raid on Donald Trump's home, President Trump's home. How important do you think it is for Americans to have the opportunity to read the affidavit and understand the justification behind this raid at Mar-A-Lago?
So I was an attorney general in Virginia, and I would characterize this raid as in a very small category of activities that, even if they find a way to legitimize it, raises questions because it gets outside of just criminal law. This gets beyond the National Records Act. All the rest of us in America seeing it question whether this is the weaponization of law enforcement. And so it is incumbent upon the Attorney General in particular, Director Wray as well, but the Attorney General Garland should have already been prepared to immediately fully explain the rationale behind this. This is not the usual investigation where you say, sorry, we don't talk during an investigation. This needs to be explained for the legitimacy of the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And that means not their spin, but literally releasing the documents on which they based the request in the first place to get the warrant, because it doesn't take much to get a warrant. Probable cause is not a hard standard to achieve. But when you look back over 6 years in particular with the FBI, the left-leaning politicization and weaponization of federal law enforcement has been severe. It has been one-sided, and it has been, frankly, the kind of thing that threatens the Republican principles. And I don't mean Republican Party, I mean constitutional republic.
Most definitely. Let's switch gears now to the border, the southern border, the crisis there. Customs and Border Protection's July numbers show a 203% increase from last month in just fentanyl seizures over at the southern border. What do you make of this? And shouldn't we be enforcing the laws that are already in place?
Yeah, so the open borders policy of the Biden administration, which they are vigorously pursuing, and by the way, ordinary Democrats in America don't support these policies. This is not a Republican-Democrat thing. This is a very slim portion of the ideological left that the president is responding to. And it isn't just the seizures that are up at the border of fentanyl. We'll just stay with fentanyl, although it's all hard drugs. If you ask your local police, what's the street price of fentanyl? What was it a year ago? What was it 2 years ago? You will see one of the purest examples of the law of supply and demand. Even with the massive seizures at the border, so much is coming through with this open borders policy. It's killing Americans by lowering the price of this drug that is so deadly. And it's why every town in America is a border town. All the hard drugs that are killing Americans and creating violence in many of our communities are coming through that southern border. All of them. That didn't used to be the case, not when I was Virginia's Attorney General, say 10 years ago. But that is the case now.
And no doubt we also have terrorists possibly coming through there as well, correct?
Oh, by the score. We had another 50 or 60 on the terror watch list that have only been figured out after the fact that have come through just this fiscal year. And those are just the ones we know about. And those are the folks who have the greatest motivation not to be discovered by Customs Border Protection, by the OFO folks at the legal ports of entry, to get by our national security apparatus at the border. So the likelihood is that there are, it's hard to estimate, double that number that are getting through. And these are people that want to kill Americans and bring down the American government. And we have a president and an administration who's willing to let them walk right in.
Well, Mr. Cuccinelli, thank you so much for joining us today.